Freddie, thank you. Well, early voting begins here in Texas in just a week. Can you guys believe it? 5 days away. And an hour-long debate last night may have helped some voters decide who they would like to support in the close race for the U.S. Senate seat.
We are going to talk all about that debate now. So joining us this afternoon to talk about some of the standout moments is Joshua Blank. He is the research director for the Texas Politics Project at the University of Texas. Josh, welcome back. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
You know, after watching that debate, it was nice to just be a crisp hour. We are able to kind of consume that a little bit more. But right out the gate, the debate started on abortion, and it seemed to put Senator Cruz maybe on a back foot because he wasn't answering specific questions about some of the state's strict abortion laws. What do you make of that we started off with that? Do you think it could be a hindrance for him?
Well, I think it certainly was something of an assist to the Allred campaign to begin the debate on that topic.
Yeah.
This has been a real sore spot for Cruz really throughout much of the last year as he's been trying to campaign across the state, and in particular as he's been trying to moderate his image going into this election cycle. This is an issue that Cruz has largely avoided clarifying his position on, and that's unusual for the senator, who really is pretty outspoken on most topics. And so I think that's probably why the debate started there and why it's caused him such a hard time.
Josh, Senator Cruz, we really heard a lot from him, bringing up a lot just Allred and his stance when it comes to transgender athletes. I mean, it was something that came up repeatedly. Do you think this was him really just trying to energize his base when it came to really just, again, focusing on a point that might resonate more with them?
Well, I think there's a couple goals with that topic strategy. Number one, you know, the most competitive parts in Texas, or the most competitive parts of the states, are the suburbs. And ultimately, when you're looking at these issues around gender and education, and especially, you know, our children, that really is a conversation that is meant to target those suburban voters, given rural voters overwhelming support for the Republican Party, Democratic voters, or urban voters sort of overwhelming and growing support for the Democratic Party. This is what this issue is meant to raise. At the same time, as much as it's about mobilizing Cruz's own supporters, the goal here, and this is usually the goal in these sort of statewide races, is to paint Allred as being outside the mainstream, as being extreme on these sorts of issues. In particular here, issues of gender identity, which Texans are still coming to terms with and which are evolving at a pretty slow pace, but evolving nonetheless.
We showed that opening moment of the debate. They shook hands, but really the gloves came off a little bit more. But one thing they were sniping at each other about last night was who is the most bipartisan, who is kind of occupying that center lane. Why do you think that's a part of their strategies now, just less than a week before early voting begins?
Yeah, I think this is the most obvious sort of reflection of the more competitive state we're currently living in. I mean, gone are the days in which I think a Republican candidate could simply talk to Republican voters and expect to win a race by 10 or 20 points. Cruz only won his last election by 2.5 percentage points. And ultimately, both candidates, both Allred and Cruz, have really spent a lot of this campaign trying to position themselves as the moderate choice. And so last night was really a reflection of the themes that they've both really been relying on throughout this election so far.
It was a pretty civil debate, but it did get a little combative at times. Do you think what we saw last night will have any sort of impact on the results next month?
It's hard to say. I mean, look, most voters already know who they're going to vote for, and to the extent that some undecideds tuned in last night, there's no doubt that this helped them make a decision one way or another. If nothing else, what you're seeing is that they are clearly trying to draw a contrast with each other, and they're trying to give voters a clear decision here between these two candidates. And for anyone who did tune in last night, if they were unsure about who they were looking to support, I think they probably got a lot closer to decision today.
And one quick follow-up question. You know, Will and I were talking about this. Both candidates did a really excellent job of sort of defending themselves and getting back on track to answering the question. Do you think it sends a message to Texans that no matter who gets elected, there is going to be strong leadership when it comes to having a fit candidate who could be representing us?
You know, I think living in a state like Texas, I don't think that's something you worry about. We aren't lacking in people with ambition and with the ability to do these jobs. The question now just comes down to picking the right one.
And what about polling for you all? Will you have some updated numbers coming up? I know the election is knocking on the door, so what about that?
Oh, we will definitely have some new polling numbers coming out very, very soon that should hopefully kind of wrap this up, at least for us. And then we can see what actually happens.
Yeah, Josh, it's always a pleasure having you here. You're always, such a joy and so knowledgeable. So Thanks for, he's like, yeah, I know you are, you are. So thanks for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Well, thanks for the compliments.
And everybody, if you want a reminder, early voting, as we mentioned, in Texas starts next Monday online right now. We have a breakdown of what's on your ballot. It's all in the local election headquarters section on KXAN.com.